I'll show you the 7 types of people who are draining your energy and preventing you from growing. You know that feeling of always being tired, even without doing anything strenuous? Of feeling like something's wrong, but you can't quite put your finger on it? The problem isn't you. It's the people around you. In the next few minutes, you'll learn to identify these emotional vampires and discover how to get rid of them once and for all. Your life will change completely when you apply what I'm going to teach you today. Imagine you have a friend who never disagrees with you. Sounds amazing, right? They always smile, always support your ideas, always stand by you. But wait, when you need them most, where are they? Let me tell you something that will open your eyes. People who agree with everything aren't your real friends. They're emotional cowards disguised as supporters. You know why? Because agreeing is easy. It's safe. It doesn't require courage. A true friend challenges you when you're wrong. They fight with you when necessary. They nag you so you can grow. Think of it this way. If you're heading straight for a hole and your friend just smiles and agrees, they're not your friend. They're a coward who would rather see you fall than risk a moment of tension. The ancient Greeks already knew this. A philosopher named Epictetus said, "It is better to be rebuked by the wise than praised by the ignorant." In other words, choose someone who corrects you with love than someone who applauds you out of ignorance. These people live in fear. Fear of being rejected, fear of losing their place near you, fear of having to show who they truly are. So they become social chameleons, changing color depending on the environment. The problem is that when you really need them, when you make a mistake, when you're about to make a bad decision, when you need someone to hold you, they simply disappear. Why? Because they were never really there. They were just taking up space. Jung, a famous psychologist, explained that people like this use masks not only to deceive others, but to escape from themselves. They don't know who they are, so they copy whoever is around them. The hard truth, loyalty that costs nothing is worth nothing. Real relationships have friction. They have arguments. They have difficult moments. Because real people have their own opinions and the courage to express them. So, look around you. Who are the people who never confront you? Who always agree? Who disappear when things get tough? These people are not your allies. They're spectators of your life, waiting to see what happens. A true friend will sometimes annoy you. They'll disagree with you. They'll question you. And they'll stick around even after the fight. That's the difference between true loyalty and cheap theater. The question you need to ask yourself is, do you want empty applause or real friendship? Chapter 2, The Emotionally Unstable People Who Drain You. Do you know that person who's in heaven today and hell tomorrow? Who talks about 1,000 projects one week and is depressed the next without knowing why? Who can never maintain a consistent mood? Be careful. You might be being sucked dry by an emotional vampire. These people aren't malicious, but they're dangerous all the same. They live on an emotional roller coaster and want you to come along for the ride. The problem is, this ride never ends. It works like this: they arrive full of energy, with incredible plans, and they infect you with their enthusiasm. You get on board, get excited along with them. Then, out of nowhere, they plummet. And they expect you to be their emotional lifeline. You become their therapist, their motivator, their emotional nanny. Your energy, which should be used for your own dreams, is all spent trying to stabilize someone who doesn't want to stabilize. Marcus Aurelius, a very wise Roman emperor, wrote, "The soul is dyed with the color of its thoughts." But what happens when your soul begins to absorb someone else's chaotic thoughts? You start to feel tired for no reason. Your victories lose their shine because you know you'll soon have to deal with someone else's drama. You lose your peace because you're always waiting for the next emotional crisis. The worst part is that these people often unconsciously sabotage your growth. When you're doing well, when you're evolving, they feel like they're falling behind. So they create a crisis to pull you back to their level. It's not malice. It's an emotional survival instinct. They feel lost when you grow, so they do anything to keep you on the same level, the level of chaos. Carl Jung spoke of a phenomenon called identification. It's when a person's problems begin to blend with your identity. You stop knowing where their problems end and yours begin. The truth is, you can't fix anyone. You can't be the center of gravity for someone who refuses to find their own balance. Compassion is important, but boundless compassion becomes self-neglect. You can love someone from a distance. You can root for someone without carrying the weight of their instability. Emotionally mature people bring energy to your life. They go through problems like everyone else, but they don't make you pay the emotional bill. They deal with their own issues and appear as allies, not burdens. Ask yourself, after meeting this person, do you feel energized or drained? Inspired or anxious? The answer will tell you everything. Have you ever noticed those people who over-explain? Who talk and talk and talk, justifying every little thing they do? Who arrive apologizing before you can even ask them? Be careful, when someone over-explains, it's usually because they're hiding something. These people live in permanent defense mode. They talk so much, with so many details, that you get confused and forget to pay attention to what really matters, their actions. It's like this: they arrive 30 minutes late, but spend 10 minutes explaining the traffic, the alarm that didn't go off, the unexpected call, the neighbor who called for help. So much drama to justify something simple. Why do they do this? Because they're afraid of being judged. Because they know, deep down, that their actions don't match the image they want to project. Marcus Aurelius said something very simple and powerful: don't waste time discussing what a good man should be. Be one. People with integrity don't need to make speeches about their integrity. They simply act. But compulsive explainers do the opposite. They use words to decorate their lack of character. They hope you'll get lost in their explanations and forget to analyze the patterns. Carl Jung had a brilliant quote: "You are what you do, not what you say you're going to do." And people who over-explain are always telling you what they're going to do, what they wanted to do, what they tried to do. But what about what they actually did? The problem is that these explanations aren't just lies to you. They end up believing their own excuses. They rewrite the story in their own minds until they believe they are victims of circumstance, not responsible for their own choices. You get tired of listening so much. Your mind becomes polluted with their narratives. You start to question your own perception because their explanations are so convincing. But here's a secret: trustworthy people can be silent. They aren't afraid of pauses. They don't feel the need to control their interpretation of every situation. When someone trusts themselves, they trust that their actions will speak for them over time. There may be occasional misunderstandings, but the general pattern will be clear. Observe the people around you. Who talks more than they do? Who always has an excuse ready? Who turns every conversation into a session of justifications? These are the ones you should watch most carefully. Because words are cheap. Actions are expensive. And those with good deeds don't need to sell them with speeches. Tem gente que neo tem personalidade propria. Serios. Elas são como esponjas humanas, absorvendo tudo que você faz, fala e pensa. No comigo, paris legal. Nossa, essa pessoa me entende perfeitamente. Mas aos poucos você percebe que ela não te entende, ela te copia. Suas frases viram as frases dela. Seus gastos viram os gastos dela. Seus objetivos viram os objetivos dela. E como terem clone sem alma andando por AI. O problema não é admiraco. Admiraco é saudável. O problema é a imitação sem personalidade. E quando alguém prefere ser uma cópia sua a descobrir quem realmente é. Essas pessoas são camaleões sociais. Mudam de cor dependendo de quem está por perto. Como você, elas são iguais a você. Como outra pessoa, viram outra coisa completamente diferente. E sabe qual é a parte mais triste? Elas fazem isso não por maldade, mas por medo. Medo de serem rejeitadas sendo elas mesmas. Medo de não serem interessantes o suficiente. Então preferem ser cópias de pessoas interessantes. Epicteto, filósofo grego, diz: é impossível aprender aquilo que achamos que já sabemos. E essas pessoas acham que sabem tudo sobre a vida porque declaram a sua. Mas declarar não é viver. Imitar não é crescer. E quando a vida testa a sabedoria imitada, ela desmorona. A verdade é que relacionamentos baseados em imitação são vácios. Não há troca real, não há crescimento mútuo, não há desafios. É como conversar com espelho que só ecoa suas próprias palavras. Você comica a se sentir sozinho mesmo na companhia delas. Porque não há nada original vindo delas. Nenhuma perspectiva nova, nenhum questionamento interessante, nenhuma contribuição única. E quando você muda de dirico, elas entram em pânico. Porque a identidade delas dependia de sua. Elas não sabem como são sem você para imitar. Ai podem acontecer duas coisas: ou elas te abandonam para encontrar outro modelo, ou elas tentam te sabotajem para te manter no lugar onde elas conseguem te copiar. Pessoas autênticas podem te admirar, podem aprender com você, mas nunca tentam ser você. Elas têm suas próprias opiniões, seus próprios erros, sua própria forma de ver o mundo. Quando duas pessoas autênticas se encontram, há faíscas. Há discussões construtivas. Há crescimento mútuo. Cada traz algo único para a mesa. Olheo su redor. Quem são as pessoas que sempre concordam com tudo que você diz? Que nunca trazem ideias próprias? Que parecem não ter opinião sobre nada e você expressar a sua? Essas pessoas não são suas amigas. São suas sombras. E sombras desaparecem quando a luz muda de posição. Você maris pessoas que tenham personalidade própria, que contribuem com algo original, que te desafiam a crescer. Neo ecos de sua própria voz. There are people who don't have their own personality. Seriously. They're like human sponges, absorbing everything you do, say, and think. At first, it seems cool. Wow, this person understands me perfectly. But little by little, you realize they don't understand you, they copy you. Your phrases become their phrases. Your tastes become their tastes. Your goals become their goals. It's like having a soulless clone walking around. The problem isn't admiration. Admiration is healthy. The problem is personality-less imitation. It's when someone prefers to be a copy of you rather than discover who they really are. These people are social chameleons. They change colors depending on who they're around. With you, they're just like you. With someone else, they become something completely different. And you know what the saddest part is? They do this not out of malice, but out of fear. Fear of being rejected for being themselves. Fear of not being interesting enough. So they prefer to be copies of interesting people. Epictetus, the Greek philosopher, said, "It is impossible to learn what we think we already know." And these people think they know everything about life because they've memorized yours. But memorizing isn't living. Imitating isn't growing. And when life tests imitated wisdom, it crumbles. The truth is, relationships based on imitation are empty. There's no real exchange, no mutual growth, no challenges. It's like talking to a mirror that only echoes your own words. You start to feel alone even in their company. Because there's nothing original coming from them. No fresh perspective, no interesting questions, no unique contributions. And when you change direction, they panic. Because their identity depended on yours. They don't know who they are without you to imitate. Then two things can happen: either they abandon you to find another model, or they try to sabotage you to keep you where they can copy you. Authentic people can admire you, they can learn from you, but they never try to be you. They have their own opinions, their own mistakes, their own way of seeing the world. When two authentic people meet, there are sparks. There are constructive discussions. There is mutual growth. Each brings something unique to the table. Look around you. Who are the people who always agree with everything you say? Who never offer their own ideas? Who seem to have no opinion on anything until you express yours? These people are not your friends. They are your shadows. And shadows disappear when the light shifts. You deserve people who have their own personality, who contribute something original, who challenge you to grow. Not echoes of your own voice. Beware of those who want to be your best friend on the first date. You know that person who, within a few hours of talking, is already telling you about the deepest traumas of their life? Who acts as if you've been intimate for years? Who forces a closeness that doesn't exist? That's not vulnerability. It's emotional manipulation. True intimacy grows slowly, like a plant. It needs time, care, mutual trust. But these people throw all their traumas in your face at once, hoping to make you feel special, chosen, responsible. It's a trap. They're creating an emotional debt. Look how much I trusted you. Now you owe me something. Carl Jung warned about projection, when someone uses you as a vessel for feelings they don't want to process alone. And that's exactly what happens. They're not creating connection. They're pouring out problems. They're not building friendship. They're building dependency. And it works because we, as human beings, are programmed to reciprocate trust. When someone opens up to us, we feel we should open up too. When someone tells secrets, we feel we must keep them. But here's the problem: forced intimacy isn't real intimacy. It's emotional pressure disguised as closeness. Mature people respect the timing of things. They open up gradually, as trust builds naturally. They don't dump all their emotional baggage at once. Marcus Aurelius was wise. He believed in measured connections, based on observation and time, not emotional outbursts. The difference is simple: real intimacy invites. Fake intimacy pressures. One builds over time. The other explodes on the first date and then disappears. Because the truth is, these people don't really want to know you. They want someone to carry the emotional weight they can't carry alone. And when you try to create healthy boundaries, when you say, "I need time," or "this is too fast," they react badly. They make you feel guilty. They remind you of everything you shared. They accuse you of being cold, distant, insensitive. But you're not obligated to be anyone's therapist. You're not obligated to carry traumas that aren't yours. You're not obligated to reciprocate intimacy you didn't ask for. Aristotle said that true friendship is based on mutual virtue, not emotional need. Real friends grow together. They don't use each other as emotional crutches. So, when someone tries to force intimacy too quickly, take a step back. Choose someone who respects your pace. Someone who builds closeness with patience. Someone who understands that real trust isn't built overnight. Because true intimacy isn't rushed. And those who rush are usually running away from something.